Hello everyone, once again this is Rob, and welcome back to Media Awareness and another album review. Before I continue, however, a reminder the fundraiser continues. For those of you new to my channel or unaware, I am a disabled individual and I use a motorized wheelchair slash scooter all day every day for my independence and I need your help. My insurance will not cover anything with regard to my scooter as they view it as a quote luxury item end quote. Despite the fact that I am unable to walk whatsoever, in addition to being unable to use any other type of scooter or power chair, or even a standard wheelchair for that matter, as I only have limited dexterity in one hand. In addition to that, I do not have a backup scooter or wheelchair to rely on at the current time. So if my scooter should malfunction as it did a few months ago, I will yet again be a fish out of the water, a scenario I want to avoid at all costs. With that stated, below the title of this video and the description, as well as in a separate section below the information pertaining to the product I'm going to be reviewing, you will find a spot fund link. It is a fundraiser, it's easy to contribute, takes a few seconds, and all help is welcome. I cannot stress that enough. Even $5 or $10 can make all the difference in the world. And what I am endeavoring to do is both continue the ongoing refurbishing of my existing scooter as well as to save for a new scooter. I came up with these conclusions following the malfunction of my scooter as alluded to a moment ago, whereby I needed to rely on family and friends to push me around my own home, which severely limited my independence. However, it was a long overdue wake up call that I need a backup plan, and the backup plan is to have a brand new scooter to use moment to moment, day to day, and if something should happen to that scooter, my completely refurbished model waiting in the wings to be used if necessary when necessary. So please do what you can. I do want to extend a gracious thanks to those who have contributed thus far, in addition to those who plan on contributing, as your contributions have and will make a world of difference in my life. Thank you all. I love you all. If you're not yet subscribed to Media Awareness, please consider subscribing to my channel and becoming part of the Media Awareness family. I'd love to have you. Also, if you do subscribe, make sure to ring the bell icon. That way you're notified whenever I upload something new to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about the new album by the Flower Kings. This was released approximately a week ago and it is called Love. Here's the cover. Here is the back cover with the track listing and assorted credits and other artwork. Here is the interior cover. A stark contrast from the exterior cover. And once it's unfolded entirely, you have the band on either side flanking the disc in the center. Now we're going to go through the track listing and I will give my thoughts on each track as I cover them. I have extensive notes on this particular album. I have been listening to it throughout the week. This was provided to me by a gracious viewer. I really want to thank you for that. And I really hope that you appreciate this review. So we start the album out with We Claim the Moon. And this is a great opening track, in my opinion. Really has moving lyrics and up tempo beat that brings in the album and really brings it in quite well. Track two is The Elder. And the Elder is more of a slow tempo piece. Um, really intense lyrics, excellent guitar solo, and really great harmonies. You'll find throughout this album itself really fantastic harmonies throughout the entire album. So I will only say that here and a few other times if it really stands out. Track 3 is How Can You Leave Us Now? I believe this was a single that I did a reaction to, or an abridged reaction. I believe it may have been edited. However, with that stated, um, it's an incredible piece, fantastic harmonies as stated, um, and the arrangement is really spectacular on this track, I think, as well. Track 4 is uh, World Spinning, and this track, it has a good arrangement. However, um, it's ultimately filler in my opinion. I will add to that when I get to another track on this album as well. However, at the current time, that is my take on World Spinning. Um, it does have potential and really a lot, in my opinion, but it ultimately goes nowhere. Um, Track 5, Burning Both Edges, um, epic feel and the arrangement, excellent performances all around, musically and vocally, it's a masterpiece. Track 6 is the Rumble, and musically, this is a good track. However, I think it suffers lyrically and vocally. There's not much emotion in this track, and there's really just a lackluster performance, in my opinion. Um, Track 7 is Kaiser Razor, and this is another track that really goes nowhere, in my opinion. And if it was joined with the earlier track referenced, let me scroll back here, of the world of World Spinning, I think it would have been a great epic instrumental track as the itself. However, the two instrumentals on the album, World Spinning and Kaiser Razor, just don't really do anything for the listener as a whole, in my opinion, and they have potential. Uh, as a piece joined together, they have a lot of potential for a great instrumental track. But apart, they are just two, uh, 3 minute instrumental tracks that really, at the end of the day, are just filler, in my opinion. Um, Track 8 is um, The Phoenix, which has excellent vocals, um, incredible lyrics, and musically very impressive, but it's way too short, and it really suffers from the length of this track. And the same could be said for the next track, The Promise, track 9. Um, it is another track which could have benefited from being joined with the prior track um, as one cohesive piece, as opposed to two separate shorter tracks on this particular album. Um, it really doesn't have time to develop into anything. Track 10 is Love Is. And this track is just pure excellence. It really is a standout track on this album itself. And track 11, track 11 is Walls of Shame, and this is would have been it's a perfect reflective track on the album. It really encompasses a lot of elements that we hear throughout the album lyrically and musically. There's a lot of callbacks, more so lyrically than musically, but it still has a lot of these elements that we hear throughout the album. And it would have been a great closing track for the album, in my opinion. A great monumental closing piece. However, it does not close out the album. Instead, we have Considerations, and this is a fantastic track. Don't get me wrong. Excellent, in my opinion, actually. And it should have been midway through the album, in my opinion. It really would have been a good halfway point between the first half and second half of the album as a whole. It has powerful vocal and musical performances, incredible lyrics, and uh, I believe Michael Stahl actually is the lead vocalist on this track. Roy his brother and uh, the Flower Kings bassist. Um, so, uh, it would have really benefited from being uh, somewhere in the mid section of the album, as opposed to having these instrumental fillers, as I stated previously. Um, so there you have my opinion on these tracks. However, I have more to say. If you listen to the album itself from beginning to end as a cohesive piece, it does work well as an album. Um, the problem I have is when you break down the album into its individual tracks, they really suffer, some more than others in this particular case. The ones I pointed out specifically. The other tracks are really amazing, and I think that the album could have been shorter and just had the main tracks with a couple of them joined together, even just some omissions here and there, and rearranging of the track listing. But solid performances, solid vocally and lyrically, um, as well as musically. We don't get anything less from the Flower Kings. However, this album is not their best work to date. It is good. It's quite good, in fact. Um, but when you break it down and look at it from individual tracks, that's when you actually see the cracks in the facade of the album itself, and you see that it's not quite as um, bombastically impressive as it initially seemed, at least in my perspective. Now, another thing I want to mention, I cannot stand this cover. I think it's a the worst Flower Kings album cover, if I may go that far, um, historically speaking. Uh, I don't know why this is the cover, and it really is kind of off-putting, but um, no band is perfect. Um, and that even goes for the Flower Kings. So if you have the opportunity, I do recommend listening to this. You can stream it online. You can buy it also on CD as well as vinyl, and you can also get it as a digital download. And it is a good album. It's not a great album, but it is a good album. So check out Flower King's Love and let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. I'd love to know. This is Rob with Media Awareness, and I will see you all again soon. Have a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.